Hi, it's Michael, and we are on week 4. So, what happened last week? And hopefully, you're getting a little bit of an understanding of how I teach the class, which is I want you to not be 100% sure of what the next step is, but to explore it, because that is the job of an information architect. You're often not given blueprints or designs. You're the one building the foundation, and that is the perfect role for these 2 weeks of data and pattern because data without anything in the database, you will have nothing to organize. Yet, as with most people who've taken this class, you started with something that is a thing that you found or got off of Airtable, and it's something that you find interesting, but it's normally always a subset. Such as we have a great example here, and I apologize. Just wanted to use this because it's a good one, and it's about cars. But it started about to be about electric cars, and you found data. I'll just show the grid view here. We found some data. They have a make and a model and a name. And there's a few pieces of data here that are maybe directly related to a electric vehicle, but an electric vehicle is pretty much like any vehicle. So the goal for this week is to see that by only adding maybe one, two, three more fields, you can have it be about every car ever made. That expansion of the data set is the lifeblood of the internet and the reason why all this stuff went to the internet because it is so incredibly efficient to make big, large databases. So hopefully that makes sense. This week was about expanding, but not necessarily that you'd have to go find hundreds of examples. But I just think actually moving forward, you're only going to need a few examples, but conceptually, you should think of this as being bigger, almost too big to imagine, which is why we love subsets. It's also why we do this job because people don't cannot fathom tens of thousands of records. It's impossible, right? There's no meaning to huge amounts of data. It's why if you go into the grocery store, there's maybe 10,000 items, but nobody has problems finding, well, maybe a little problem finding things, but things are laid out in such a way so that you don't get overwhelmed with choice, which is going to be a big topic for the next coming weeks. But we are going to switch it up. And by the way, one other thing is I am here to help. If you participate early, share early, I'm more than happy to get you on your way to get you to the next step to help you. But I cannot give you enough feedback if you are only participating at the last day, which is Monday. So please try to make time early in the week for feedback. And I think you'll find it a lot easier to do this iteratively than to try to rush at the last minute. So many of you might need some help. Just reach out to me. We'll set up time if you need it. But most of you are ready to go because we are going to do a somewhat where it's going to be different this week. So we are moving from pattern to information. So how does that even work, right? Because patterns is just you seeing, do you have enough things to organize if you want to be metaphorical? Think of a foundation. If you had one pillar, the only organizational pillar, like say for a movie is genre, well, there you go. That's all you have to work with. But if you had two pillars, three pillars, four pillars of things to describe your movie, then you've got many more options to build on top of that. And that's what I hope you added, and you can continue to add maybe as the aha moment happens. But one of the questions last week was about hierarchy. So now we really are going to get into hierarchy, which we're going to get to the information phase. Actually, we're going to create from your database information. And how are we going to do it? Well, I describe it here. So I hope you all take a look at this early. We are going to use JS Fiddle, which is another program that is virtual, just like Airtable is. Airtable and JS Fiddle don't necessarily know about each other. So you're going to just take a few of your records and you're going to create HTML out of those records. Now, how do you write HTML and why are we writing HTML? Well, I've got videos about it. That's the thing. I also can put the podcast out if you want, but I just go through the whole thing of how and why HTML is the language we're going to use. I will hint that the reason why we're using HTML is it's a controlled language. It's a language that you did not invent, but you are going to use because it's pretty easy to understand. In fact, here it is. This is HTML5, by the way, which is very important because it added all these semantic tags. Semantic tags. If you ever notice, semantics are extremely important to information architects. These are words that have meaning and they're well understood across um, across everything. So HTML is the most well understood language, but it's not often used to be meaningful. In fact, I am looking right here at one of my favorite two tags. So all you have to do really is to use these tags to mean what it is. A definition list is a list that has a definition, like A, B, C, and then it has terms underneath it. You don't have to get too heavy into lists, although lists might be a way to display your information. My hope is that you're using more grouping tags. So these are some great ones. Article is a great one. And you're chunking that your data, which is you're going to use basically a few records and you're going to put them into different places. But the real big thing this week is headings. I mean, really, it's this is really about H1 and H2. Uh, Maybe H3. I doubt we'll get that deep, but there's a lot to learn about this. And just as usual, try it, give it a try. So over here, you can put your link to JS Fiddle. Oh, hey, you're already there. Cool. And this is also where you can look at others. The uh, thing I noticed is many people are doing the same topic, which is perfectly fine. Just don't feel like you're doing this alone. In fact, you'll start to hopefully see that you're all actually working on the same thing. So please look at each other's work, try to learn from each other. I'm going to offer as many hints and help as always that I can. So rely upon me and don't be thrown off by looks. This is one thing you do have to try to avoid looking at the rendering of your HTML. Please do not do that. This has nothing to do with rendering because HTML is just describing a structure. Just like imagine a blueprint. Again, you're putting up the walls of your house. Remember last week, foundation, data. Next week, walls, but you're not decorating yet. You're not designing anything. You're just saying this is more important than this. This goes with this. This is grouped together with this with a tag or a series of items are together. And these are maybe not viewed. So you might also think that, hey, nobody likes this. Nobody likes to look at a list unless you can sort and filter it, I guess. But most people like something like this, where there's a subset of items that you see. So think about grouping in that way. And of course, share, and I'm more than happy to give advice. And I'm also asking a question, which is maybe I've given away the reason why, but hopefully after trying this, if you've never used a controlled language before, this is the best one to learn just because it's ubiquitous and always here to help. Good luck this week.